Okay, everyone. Good morning, everybody. So let's get started. Welcome to the 4th annual Shoreview Tourism Panel hosted by the Lloyd D. Levinson Institute of Gaming, Hospitality, and Tourism. I'm Jane Buckinevich. I'm the faculty director of the Institute. And I'm joined here by a panel of industry experts from various segments of the hospitality industry. They're going to introduce themselves to you in just a moment, but I have a few opening comments just to get the conversation flowing. First of all, I'd like to recap. Every spring we do a Shorecast where we look forward to the summer and see what everyone's expecting to happen. So just to recap what we predicted in the spring, panelists were really concerned about gas prices, inflation, the rising cost of labor, as well as labor shortages in the hospitality industry, and especially in the housekeeping segment. So even though our panelists were very positive on the outlook for the summer, these were their concerns at the time. Some statistics that we do have access to are the casino numbers, and very fortunately, in June through August, gross gaming revenue was up 11%, which that's wonderful. Brick and mortar, however, in-person gaming was up 1%. So most of the growth in the gaming numbers was really in internet gaming and online sports betting, but still very positive results. A very good news was that employment was up 3%, and that's been something that the industry has struggled with since the pandemic, but being up 3% I think was really a great sign. So we're still down over pre-pandemic by about a little over 1,000 jobs maybe closer to 2, but it is up 3% year over year. And vehicles going through the Pleasantville Toll Plaza is up 3.7%. So some very positive numbers for the summer there. Not so positive, meetings and conventions were down 30% in the summer months. However, if you look at the whole year, we were comparable to 2021. This is an interesting trend we've been following where non-gaming revenue is becoming a very important part of the Atlantic City revenue landscape. So if anybody remembers, in the early days, it used to be 70% from the gaming revenue and 30% from non-gaming. So we've been watching this trend change, and in 2017, it was 61% gaming to 39% non-gaming. This year, in 2022 and year-to-date this year, it's 55% gaming to 45% non-gaming. So as you can see, it's getting closer to the model of Las Vegas, where much of the revenue comes from non-gaming attractions. And that's a sign of the industry trying to, diversify its offerings. Whoops, okay, did we have another slide? All right, well, let's get on to the questions. And I wanted to first let our panelists introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Sandy. Please tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Sandy Chu, Financial and Professional Services Sector Lead at New Jersey Economic Development Authority.
Thank you for having me today. I'm Sharon Franz. I'm the Marketing and Sales Manager for Steel Pier in Atlantic City.
Hi, good morning and welcome. Thank you for having me here, Sandy and Sarah. My name is Phyllis Lalka. I'm president of Masterpiece Advertising. Proud to say I'm in Atlantic City 30 years as a full-service advertising agency. I represent clients across the country and globe, with offices on the West Coast and in the South and North now. So thank you. I'm proud to call Atlantic City home.
Good morning. I'm Diane Whalen. I'm the director of the Cape May County Department of Tourism and also the chair of the Southern Shore Destination Marketing Organization.
Okay, well, let's start with Sharon on the first question, since she's an operator on the panel. How did the summer 2023 season measure up to what we were expecting?
Well, as far as the predictions, honestly, you can't predict the weather, and that was what was against us this year. June and July was just, the weather was just against us. Yeah. So unfortunately, when we saw the predictions for this year, we were all excited, and then honestly, the weather really was an issue for us.
Yeah, that was a big factor.
Yeah.
Diane?
According to our occupancy tax for 2023, and that's a hard number that we get from the New Jersey Treasury, they have released the information through July. Cape May County is up about 17% in total occupancy from January to July. This is more than last year, which was a very good year for us, and also outpaces 2019, which was the pre-COVID numbers. What we looked at in July was that Cape May County generated $5.2 million in occupancy tax just in July. That's 17% over last year, and it keeps us on track to increase and the 2022 numbers of $19 million. So those are numbers we compare with other counties. We outpaced all other counties in July, and through anecdotal reports, we're hearing from the lodging industry that August was pretty much the same, so we anticipate August also being the height of the season, but also being a good year for us. As we look into September, weather-driven tourism was off a little, and while we don't have the numbers, those are the reports we're getting. But we are seeing that we are up a little. It kind of follows through with the traffic counts and other data that we do have, that our businesses are not saying that it was great. They're saying they did okay. And okay is good with us.
All right, thank you. Any other panelists have anything to add?
Despite it was not measured up per se to some, but I think that we have been very busy. We're proudly to say that we have supported the Loft to Soar activity. It was the first multi-city initiative that we have supported, providing grants to NJPAC and also to Eastport Innovation Center. I can talk about it more later on, but alone from that day at the Innovation Center, we have about close to 300 visits at the center, but the number is actually more, but I will share more later on.
I think Atlantic City was hugely successful. I'm proud to say I'm the marketing agency for CREDA for DUAC, and I do a lot of work with them, a vendor for NJEDA. How do I say that? We created a really successful campaign. And how did we get to that campaign? We did research. So as a part of our discovery phase, we went out to all our stakeholders, which was the first time anyone ever did that in Atlantic City. And people were looking for, when we did our lifestyle surveys, and Jane and Sarah helped us with that, they were a huge part. People were looking for authentic experiences outside the casino walls. And as we all know, casinos are huge, they have huge marketing budgets. So our campaign this summer was authentic. Really Atlantic City. And we drove there was always a call to action to AtlanticCityNJ.com. So that's how we can measure success. And indeed, we could measure the folks that went to the site and then went to our marketing visitor site. So our numbers were up depending on the page visited, and 20 to 40%. In addition to the new attractions and the big anniversaries. There was a 20th anniversary. So each casino in their own right did their big anniversary celebration. So there was great visitor turnout. Gaming revenue has increased. But I want to tell you, I'm really proud of the collective stakeholders that I work with, the little restaurants, Steel Pier, Chelsea. They've done their part at helping us help them. So that's critical for me in our marketing and our campaigns. We get a lot of TV inquest, and as a part of our media buy, we make sure we get added value. So we invite all the media here, whether it be a small newspaper or large media company from New York, or the Today Show as an example. We bring them to the city. We introduce them to folks like the Frelingers. We get national and local coverage. So that's really critical for the world to see who we are, what we're doing, and let's start highlighting the new attractions like Orange Loop. I think it's perfect because we saw an uptick after COVID. And now we're giving these folks, the consumers, what they want. They want experiences outside the casinos. We found that out. So it was great for us to say, hey, have you been to Tony's, or some of the authentic experiences in Atlantic City? So on the most part, I'd say I live here. I see the traffic on the boardwalk. We got the visitors. Now we just have to make sure that there's opportunities to capture their wallet.
Thank you, Phyllis. Great overview of the marketing events that the city has been trying to put through. Thank you. Okay, next question I would like to start with Sandy. How would you describe the region's current economic circumstances?
Well, we have been really busy recently, in particularly because we have new programs introduced, helping the specific industries and reaching out to every communities through listening sessions, through outreach strategically, intentionally, and proactively, to making sure that everybody knows about our programs. The programs ranging from grants to lending to tax incentives for pretty much everybody, through from early stages of businesses to mainstream businesses to biggest multinational companies. So particularly, I'm very proud to say that we are geared towards a whole host of systems, programs, helping the entrepreneurs to start up a business with grants, with supporting them with rent and lease payments, and providing them funding to start up, for hiring, for development. So we have been really, really busy. And what closer to home here is that we have, besides the full strength, have started operating at Eastport Innovation Center, thanks to their members of Lenovo and SXI, and also other members providing the gear so that they at least have 24 systems. Like I mentioned, for North to Shore Festival, one day have 300 people at the center playing esports, competing with each other, but the number is more than 300 because their grandparents, their parents, their siblings brought them there. And while they are playing esports, completing one another, the adults are going and enjoying themselves at the restaurants, at the casinos, at the resorts, at the boardwalk. So that, to me, is really the whole ecosystem of the people enacting, interacting, and helping the economy here. And also is the programs that, through our intentional and proactive outreach, that we really want more people to apply through the knowledge, aware of these programs, that are grants and lending that are mentioned, and the tax incentive. So put those financial resources in the hands of those people in need in order to be helping and drive the ecosystem of the Jersey Shore here. So I think that that is directly and indirectly through the efforts of those initiatives really hopefully make an impact already if it's not there yet.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. I think that's really important information to get out to this group, the availability of resources that you can give them more information on in the future.
Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else would like to comment on the region's current economic circumstances?
I would. So again, thank you to NJDA because they are providing grants and opportunities for small businesses here in Atlantic City. North to Shore Festival, I had the opportunity to work with NJDA and NJPAC. It was the first summer, and we want to build upon that. There were so many people that came to the city that didn't necessarily haven't been here. So whether it be for entertainment or restaurant experiences, and there were many, many grants that the local small businesses were given to help them market. And as we all know, and Sharon will tell you, budgets, small attractions don't have the budgets that they need. Our tourism budget is very, very small in comparison to our competitive markets. So if we all work collectively, we could do a great job, and that's what we're doing. And again, there are opportunities, but you also have to look at the new attractions coming. Dave & Buster's is coming into town. They just opened a studio. So the more attractions that we are able to offer, I think the more desired the area becomes.
Thank you, very, very much so.
I would like to add, based from Kootenai County's data, that the number of people who came last year, say 2022, was 11.4 million people. We saw an 8% increase just overnight stays. When we work with that and filter in the occupancy tax, which measures overnight stays, we are seeing that more people are coming. When you talk about 11.4 million visitors, population of the state of New Jersey is 9.2 million. So that's how many came to Little Cape May County. And while we notice that there are changes in their spending habits, inflation hit everybody. It doesn't just hit you while you're on vacation, it hits you all year long. As you're spending money on your core cost to run a household, you're impacting your discretionary income, which is vacation income. So what we're looking at and what we're trying to do with expanding the season, and we're seeing that the winter and fall are becoming a pretty good option for us to increase the visitation. It increases the spending and offsets some of the costs that, some of the funding that was cut from people's budget. We market in Canada, in Quebec, mostly in Quebec. We've been doing it since 1970. We had an office in Canada for 25 years. They did not open the border until November of 21. We were already ready. By December, we had a full-fledged campaign. Remember us, and we called it Reconnect Canada. And last year, we saw about a 70% increase or return in Canadian visitors. This year, based on anecdotal reports from our campgrounds and from our hotels, we're about 75% return. So it's all about, for us right now, spending is down. We know that it impacts all of us. But if we can increase the number of people that come to Cape May County, we can offset some of that. So, we're looking at people saying it was okay. And, we had weather issues and a lot of things that impacted the season, but that's our whole thing. How do we keep the numbers? How do we keep the spending? Because that's what keeps it going, for Cape May County. 60% of all the jobs in Cape May County are dependent on tourism. Wow. So that's very, very important for us.
Yeah,
and we need to bring people, make sure we're increasing it, and we're doing that through the shoulder season.
Thank you, Diane.
I would add something to that. So we don't have the budget to advertise in Canada, but the one thing I'll tell you, what we did do, knowing the condition of the economy, we're a short ride away. So people that would typically fly or go to Europe, they didn't. We wanted to make sure that people realize that there's value in Atlantic City and attractions. So they did come. And what we did for the first time in the 3 years that I've been working on the Creedy account, we made sure that we really targeted the local market. And they'd say, why are you spending money in the local market? And I said, do you know how many people are here that have never been here? Mm-hmm. So I can't afford to advertise in New York. That's a DMA that just is not within our budget. So, and not only that, I don't want to tell you how many local people did not know about the Hook. So that's a new attraction, and these are folks in Linwood and Margate. So I think it's really critical to talk to people while they're here. My office is an Ocean Club. There's 700 units. I talk to people in the elevators. They're here from New York. There's more people here from New York now. Philadelphia, we got that market. I feel like we've really got that message, and we get so many impressions, and I know we got that business in North Jersey. But it's that New York and outer market. So we try to touch on them here, and I thought that was, it was nice for the folks that needed the business, the local newspapers and radio stations, but digitally we were able to also target those folks here.
Excellent.
And hopefully, we're just going to keep talking to them and emailing them and, ask for their return.
Great, thank you, Phyllis. Sharon, anything to add?
I'm just going to, it's very important for Atlantic City to promote to the leisure market. It's so important. So who's ever listening out there, the heads to be, keep us out there as a leisure market. You guys do a great job, and it's so important for us to have that because we haven't had that for a long time. And Phyllis's team is doing a great job.
Thanks. Yeah, great. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, some of you touched on some of this already, but what did inflation and higher prices have an impact on this summer? I know weather seemed to be the big impact this year, but how about inflation and higher gas prices? Did that have an impact? Anybody want to offer some comments on that?
We have found, yes, it did. It has definitely impacted. What it created was shorter stays. We had 39% of our visitors in the past stayed 7 days or longer. Now we're seeing that down to 28%. Those, especially even when we talk about Canadians stayed on average 10 to 14 days because they have more holidays. We saw that being reduced to a week. We look at when we do the Canadian market and we market further beyond our 300-mile radius, the longer the further they drive, the longer they stay. So that's an important part. The whole key is keeping them here longer and more overnight stays. But what we found is that their budgets, they want to go on vacation. They love the Jersey Shore. They love what we have to offer, the diversity. However, they don't have the money. So what we're seeing, the gas prices, like I say, impacted them all year long. Every commute they had to make cost money. So we saw that it changed their spending habit. It changed the length of stay.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to add to that one?
I think that I'd like to add is that as EDA is the economic engine in the state, and although, knowing all those pressures and challenges, there are actually programs introduced specifically cover Atlantic City in area. Grants given out, particularly one of which I name is Art Activation, Revitalization, and Transformation Program, giving out grants to help those in need, and as well as grants given out already, 2 grants to this area to help for food insecurity. So as the economic engines in the state, we have all these resources and programs out there in the communities helping in the challenges like this.
Excellent, thank you. We're very lucky to have your expertise on the panel this year. So Sandy's new. This is her first time on the panel, and Phyllis too. So we're thrilled to have some new insights that we haven't had before. Thank you. Okay, we talked about weather, of course. Was there anything else? How about labor shortages? Was that a concern? Was it a problem this year, as it had been other years, Sharon? Especially you can comment.
We actually had our J1 visas this year.
Oh,
which
good.
we had more than we had last year, which was a big help. And we do count on our local students, which I got to tell you, they're fantastic. I mean, we were lucky
That's
to have
great.
them. And I think we weathered it really well this year with employment.
Very good.
That was a plus.
Diane, did you see any?
Yes, we continue to see an issue with the labor shortage. However, we did have more of the J1 students that were here. They were about 2,200, were able to get their visas to come to work here. But we also saw that since 2020, the businesses have kind of changed their operational hours, how they do business. We still continue to see a lot more of our visitors, based on the economy, doing more takeout and casual dining, so that reduced some of the staffing concerns, because it was a different method of serving people. But it definitely it continues to be an issue for the labor shortage. And a lot of it is, now they're paying them $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So some businesses are cutting their hours because they can't continue to, it's not sustainable for a lot of them. We see, many of our businesses are, they're lucky if they have a 15% profit margin, and increased salaries, reduced staffing reduces their hours, and that really impacts them greatly. So, the staffing and shortage is still a big problem.
All right, thank you. Okay, so looking ahead now, what can we expect for the fall of 23 and then the spring of 24? Is anybody who would like to start that conversation?
Well, we started off with rain for the fall of 2023. Our period will be closed probably in 2 weekends. We'll have 2 more weekends, but we'll keep our wheel open, so we're optimistic. We're going to run some deals on the wheel. We're going to have some specials, events with Santa Claus and stuff. So we're hoping for a good winter, and hopefully spring 2024. Again, you can't predict the weather, but hopefully things will get back to normal.
Thank you.
I'd like to add for Atlantic City, right now it's Restaurant Week. We're in our 15th anniversary, and we know food inspires travel. So we are going to extend it a week, so that'll happen to next week. What we're doing for after Restaurant Week, last year we introduced Atlantic City Tinseltown. It was the first time it was ever done. So we brought all the stakeholders together and said, you know what, let's do a really cool tree lighting. Let's get the media in. Let's work with all the small partners throughout the city. We wanted to line the boardwalk with Christmas trees. It wasn't doable considering the time frame, but the casino partners, the community partners, we came together and we did a kickoff, and we did it within a few weeks. So this year we started planning way in advance, and we formed 20 committees. And within those committees, whether it be Stockton's participating with Chelsea EDC, the North Shore, the casinos. So we have events planned at the Noise Museum. We're going to do a Christmas Village. So it was the first time, again, that we're bringing all the stakeholders together, small and, again, the big box marketer casinos, to share what's happening and invite all the other markets in, to see what we have to offer. So we're going to kick that campaign off in November. And it will, we're going to do a promotional giveaway, of course, and we're working closely with the casinos. Last year, it was really cool because each casino said, you know what, we want to participate, but not necessarily can we put a tree outside. So they got very creative and did pop-up experiences in their lounges. So it was all holiday themed. Showboat did venture to put that Christmas tree outside. Got in a little bit of trouble with the city for permits. But Sharon was a vendor there. So it started something with our stakeholders, small and large. So this year we're going to do a cocktail mocktail trail. So we want to invite people here and say, hey, try this little restaurant and try this drink, whether it be a cocktail mocktail. So the Lighthouse. So there's 20 committees of over 100 people. So we have a call every other week on a Zoom. And Creta and a Masterpiece are helping them facilitate it. The city wanted to have a parade. Orange Loop wanted to have a parade. So now we're trying to coordinate one parade. Again, limited budgets, but when you coordinate and collaborate, those budgets add up. And again, thanks to NJDA, there is grant money out there to help support all these small EDCs that they never had before. So now I know that they have budgets, but they're insignificant into the scheme of thing and the job that we have to do. So I'm really excited to launch that. In the spring, we want to bring back the wine festival. And again, a lot of the casinos do it independently, but just like Restaurant Week, we want to do it collaboratively. The unfortunate thing, and I'm here 30 years in business, I just got involved, again, I did my work outside the area. 3 years ago, I said, you know what, no one really talks to each other in this town. Can we all come together, this message, that message, and can we all be unified in whatever? And that's what we're doing. So I am really excited and thank everyone for their energy that they bring to our efforts.
I just wanted to add too, I forgot to put this out there, North Beach, Atlantic City, if you're all familiar, who's a part of that. We're in an initiative, working on an initiative right now, it's called our Wine Trail. So we started it last month, and it's a wine trail to each casino, and who's a part of North Beach. It starts at Tennessee Avenue, and they could go from each casino to Tennessee Avenue to Steel Pier, and we are, each region, each wine region, you get a chance to try from, you know, say we're Oregon, you know, so each month we're going to do a different region. Mark Colazo is putting this together for North Beach, so keep that in mind too, that we're working on that.
And it's great because the casinos that Sharon's partnering with, Hard Rock and Ocean, they have the marketing dollars to help these folks out, and that's what we need. We needed the casinos to step up, and the casinos realize now that their customers are saying they want different experiences. So whether it be the food trucks, when they partnered Ocean with their 5th anniversary, with the local vendors, like we need each other, and that's finally, we're all getting to work together, and that's what makes me really happy, being here 30 years in business, and I'm seeing this finally happen. You know, we've always hired the big New York agencies, and they still come in, but you know what? We're, in the scheme of things, we're not significant budgets for them. They come in, they take their money, I call them the pirates, and they leave, but we all have a vested interest. We're not going anywhere. I have a lot of real estate here. You know, this is community, and again, it's exciting.
I can't say, I cannot predict what's coming, but from my perspective, what I know is that we would like to include everybody in Jersey Shore, businesses relevant or interested in going. We have a Founders and Funders coming up in November, early up in North Jersey, where is events that for founders and funders come in a room together and make a pitch with a group of investors individually, each time 10 minutes. For those entrepreneurials or early startups or early stages of startups that we all welcome, and the program is open to apply. We love to include many businesses from Jersey Shore to come and join. We host this twice a year, and so this is the second time in fall that coming up in November. And then what's happening right now are two very interesting programs. Love to have the businesses in the area to participate as well. One of which is the food tax credit auctions. We're selling tax credit at discount. With that fund raised through the auctions, we're going to put it back in the food desert communities where need to help to build the infrastructures and better access to the food that they not necessarily able and easily to get to. And then the other program is Evergreen Fund. It's a fund that created since last year that we now currently have 45 million unallocated capital fund to be ready to put in to invest in early businesses, high growth early businesses that are open up for anybody who are interested. I'm happy to share the details as well. Essentially, this is that we already approved 10 investors. Will be, as they come in, we'll review and approve them. And currently on the website, we have 10 investors been approved and ready to tap into this pool of fund to invest per year up to 12.5 million into early startups. So great for capital infrastructures and great for early businesses that who want to tap into the capital that they're not necessarily easy to tap into. So this is make available financial means to those who really need.
Excellent, thank you.
When I wanted to add that with fall, and while we're just really right into the fall season, in Cape May County, especially in the Wildwoods, they don't skip a beat. They go right into special events. And these special events bring back so many people for extended weekends. Some come during the middle of the week, but outside of the weather, they bring so many more people back in that you can almost say, it's equal to a July weekend. Or midweek, to see all these people, hotels that are still open, almost 100% occupancy. You go from, it started with the Wildwoods. The other towns have picked up on that. As you get through to the later fall into winter, then there's the holidays. I mean, right now, just take a look around at the Halloween decorations and attractions and ghost tours and things like that we never had before. But this is, the innovative ideas that our small businesses have to create to bring people here and give them something to do. And then we're going to, we get into the Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holidays. The visitors are back. Our second homeowners, 47% of our dwellings are considered second homes or vacation homes. We see the second homeowners coming back. While they may not be supporting the lodging industry, they're supporting all the other industries, all the other sectors. Then we go into the winter months where things are kind of slowing down, but not so much because we have the nature-based activities. Right now it's still even to the migration, but then you see the winter, the birds, the wildlife, the whales, the dolphins, things like that. So, we have such innovative, and everybody's a small business. We don't have really big corporations in Cape May County. We're seeing that they're able to stay open longer. Build it and they will come. And we're seeing that through our businesses and through our community efforts, that they are building more and more special events that are bringing people back. So we're seeing that into the fall, straight through to the winter, and then we're going to jump into spring.
Yeah, Diane, I have to say that's critical. And another critical component for Atlantic City is meetings and conventions. So in the shoulder seasons, I know when I've been, way back when, 30, 40 years ago, when we had major conventions in this town, the town was booming. So whether it be events, meetings, conventions, and we're doing a really great job with that. So Larry Sieg at Visit Atlantic City was on the tourism end. Now he's overseeing meetings end. And that's where I think we have to collaborate and really drive that regional business, because these conventions, again, we're a short drive away. We had the governor's conference here, and I'm going to tell you, Sharon and Steel Pier did a great job. So I get to work with the governor on some projects. And being out in the Steel Pier, I was so proud to meet so many people that came from all over the country. And guess what? It was their first time to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And
It was amazing.
I walk and talk because it's all about talking to people. We love research and data, but these people were like, wow. And as they looked at our ocean and our shoreline, they said, we didn't realize, because their perception of Atlantic City from many years ago that we were trashy and dirty and crime-ridden. Well, now we're looking pretty good. And again, they did a great job at highlighting one of our attractions. So we got to keep that in mind, these workshops, these seminars, whether it be the governor or, you know, the casinos promoting these meetings and conventions. We need those bodies off-season, so it's critical. And again, people, when they even want to come here and meet, it's the leisure customer. Think about it. They want something to do. They might not want to go to the casino. They might want entertainment. So again, entertainment, whether it be within the casino's walls or outside, are critical. People want authentic experiences. And if I didn't tell you that once today, let me tell you, they're looking for it, young and old. So we got to provide that to them and keep it clean and safe. I know that we just received some funds for the Boardwalk project. Then we have to work on Pacific Avenue and then Atlantic Avenue. What we have out there on that ocean, we have casinos competing all throughout, you know, North Jersey, but they don't have that ocean. They can't put that on that wall. So let's use our assets and, you know, take care of them.
Thank you.
Can I just, going to the meetings and the conventions, it's really important. They're seeing a trend now since COVID that they're traveling with their families when they come to meetings and conventions. So it's really important for a property like ours or a non-casino property, because we're getting that business now. They're bringing their families, and it's critical to us because that's, and of course, our partnership with Visit Atlantic City is just amazing. So when those conventions come in, we get those big events. You know, they come to the pier because they are looking for different and unique. And boy, Atlantic City is definitely can offer that.
Very good.
We're seeing that also at the Wildwood Convention Center as well as Cape May. They're bringing in the groups, the meetings, but also these sporting events. And when you can bring in February cheerleaders, you know, the kids, they don't come as just a cheerleading team. It's the whole family that comes. They're the fans, they're the families, they're coming to see it. And, you know, to see something like that with 4,000 participants, then you can almost triple that, quadruple that number when you talk about the families that come here. And this doesn't only impact the Wildwoods, it impacts the entire county and beyond. We're seeing hotels in Cumberland being booked. So, you know, these are important parts of expanding the season, bringing people here year-round, and increasing the spending that they do. When we look at spring and the festivals on the beach, we're going to have the Barefoot Festival in Wildwood in June. That's going to kick off June. It's going to make a major impact and just kind of kick off the season. And June's kind of a slow and a kind of iffy month because of weather, but these are the events that no matter what the weather is, they're going to go on and they're going to bring people.
Thank you. Okay, so we have one more question before we get into the Q&A, and you guys talked a lot about opportunities with the festivals and the conventions, et cetera. Are there any new challenges ahead that anybody can comment on that you see that keeps you up at night or that you think could affect tourism in the future?
Well, I have a lot, but let them go first.
Okay, anybody? Before Sandy chimes in.
Challenges? Again, I want to redo that boardwalk. You know, again, I've met with the stakeholders and it's critical. The facades, some of them, we just have to, you know, just paint them and beautify them. And then I really look forward to cleaning up Pacific Avenue. So again, I'm proud to call Atlantic City home. And there's some blighted areas, but every city has them.
Yeah.
But if we could do that, see, I think it's a challenge and we talk about it, but I know now that we have the funding to make it happen, so it becomes an opportunity. And I think the other opportunities are, once we build our momentum with these new attractions and restaurants coming in and expansion of different businesses, we'll be ready to provide the consumer and the tourists what they're looking for.
Excellent. Thank you.
I look at not necessarily as a new challenge, but a continuing challenge, and that being the economic conditions. That's going to continue to impact travel spending. So that's going to be a challenge of how do we, in our marketing efforts, we talk about being a tank of gas away because it's, you know, a 300-mile radius. We talk about our branding as being charming, you know, authentically charming. Once again, we talk about an authentic experience. That's the trend. We want to make sure that we meet with people's expectations. Every one of our communities, 16 municipalities in Cape May County, are uniquely different, and that's why we talk about that. But people can then create a vacation that suits their own purposes. So we're, and the new opportunity side is we are spending more and more money into the social media, which allows us to really target, our customer. We do all kinds of surveys, because if you don't know who your customer is, I don't know how you begin to market to them, because you're wasting a lot of money. But social media and digital marketing allows us to really target, our customer and meet their expectations, understand the demographic of who's coming here. We always talked about how difficult it was to market to the millennials. Well, guess what? They're 41 years old. The oldest millennial's 41 years old. And they're just like the rest of us. They're dealing with mortgages, kids, things like that. So now we're looking at, not such a hard nut to crack. How do we get to bring them here and have them return? 78% of our visitors return, which is a great number. But then we only have a very small number of new customers. So how do we create the new customer and make them our return customer? So we're using digital and social media to target them and to create that. That's our opportunity to grow our visitor base.
Well, it's huge for us because we have a very limited budget. But the beauty of it is we get to target that demo. When we get to talk to them, we know their interests, we know their likes, because again, we're doing the research. We get to test and retest. If it's not working, we're immediately changing. And I think that's critical, especially with AI. We know who's coming, where they're coming, and we can remarket them. So if you keep talking to them and provide what they're looking for and provide that good experience, it's a home run. So, when people say you have a small budget, and that doesn't, that could be a challenge, but I look at it as an opportunity. And let's just concentrate on who's coming and provide the best experience and talk to them how they want to be talked to. So digital is great for, again, the world that's changed. When I started in the business, Ben Rose, and we used to advertise. I was director of advertising and creative for Bally's. Charlie Tannenbaum, they didn't believe in spending money on $20,000 a month on a billboard on the Walt Whitman Bridge. They're like, how are we going to get return on that investment? And it's a business. So as an advertiser, how did I prove that money was well spent? You know what they used to make me do? Put a coupon in every ad, the New York Star Ledger, and those coupons would come in for the free, cake at Animations, and they'd be like, all right, that newspaper's working, that's not. And that's how they would, when I would go in with a media budget, determine our, again, they were really frugal on advertising and marketing because they were sort of folks that really didn't believe in it, but we had to prove it, that it worked. Now, it's easy for us to prove, and with a limited budget or a large budget, it really works, and thank you, Jesus, because we just don't make pretty pictures, which we do, so.
Yeah, thank you, Phyllis. So Sharon, do you have anything before Sandy gives her?
Our new challenges for us is getting more people to the pier and spending the money, So we're coming up with some creative deals and offers. This year, our 2-ticket Tuesday is just off the charts. From 12 to 6, 2 tickets, all rides are 2 tickets. It really shows that people are looking for that deal, and deals are really important to us moving forward, so we're going to be getting creative on.
Karen, so when you offer their deals, do you get their information and they scan?
We get
so you can remarket
we do
them?
exit surveys and stuff, so we do get people's information and we give out.
For those deals, I would be capturing that name and address and talking to them constantly.
Yeah.
Because you have to be creative. You have to give them a deal, line them in. Like when we target audiences, especially on a broad campaign, we up the household income because we see the visitors, and if they don't have shopping bags and they're not spending, but you need to provide something from everyone, from a 5-star experience to the White House hoagie. So again, we don't want to turn away. We want those people that want a 5-star experience could have it, but when you want those deals, capture that information, keep talking to them.
Thank you. So Sandy, you want to finish off the conversation before we open it up?
I have a lot of opportunities wanted to share. From my perspective, the one challenge I see is that just really with the proactive, intentional, strategic approach for outreach, still not getting to everyone. per se, but we're making progress. So we hope that will, at least on my goal is to outreach further and deeper and wider to everybody, particularly in this Jersey Shore in area. That will be my challenge, but it's a work in progress. We're making nice progress. In terms of opportunities, I think that Jersey Shore is a huge, huge area with huge competitive advantages. With everything that my fellow panelists have mentioned, it really can create a hub for everybody to come while they're on business, that the family members can enjoy and do the entertainment, if not esports, going to the beach or in-house entertainments. If not businesses, for coming vacation for long weekend, for weekends. That really things for everybody to do as a hub that you can spend at least few days here. So I think huge, huge opportunities for everybody that will create a whole economic system that everybody wins in that. Because like I said, 300 people at the Esports Innovation Center in one day is not 300. It's many more because the parents and grandparents and family members come with them and they spend and they eat, they have fun here. So I think that if we can realize that potential opportunities, I think that would create a win-win for everybody in the system.
Excellent. All right, thank you very much, panelists, for your comments. So now we'd like to open it up for questions. So let's ask our in-person audience first. Does anyone have any questions for the panel? Do we have a microphone or?
Ajani here in black. Ajani, raise your hand. She's
Yes,
passing
right
the
over there.
microphone for our in-person folks, so just wave her down and she'll come along. While she makes her way to our first in-person question, I'll ask one from our virtual audience. We spoke to this a little bit, but could we've seen a trend of more activity in the fall, winter, and spring, but how common are overnight stays during that period? Are they mostly day trippers?
Are they mostly day trippers in the off-season, or are they overnight stays?
We're seeing more overnights because there's multi-day events that take place. So we're seeing some of the restrictions for overnight stays have been relieved a little bit. So we're seeing that just the past weekend we saw activities. Saturday was a little off, but Sunday was great. We saw that people were staying Friday night, Saturday night. So we are seeing that it's not as big as it is during the summer, but we're still seeing more of the overnights. Day trips are growing anyway for year-round, so yes, we are seeing more overnights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to our in-person question.
Hi, I'm with the Atlantic City Press, and I was hoping somebody up there might have hard data, numbers on family visits to Atlantic City. How much they went up with the opening of all the new kids-centric attractions? Thank you.
Yeah, does anyone have any data?
So, no, not
We
yet,
usually do.
but that's a good question.
We usually do something with Stockton, but
And yeah, I think that we should work on that. I think it's really, really critical now that these family attractions at Showboat, Dave and Buster's are
Yeah.
coming in.
Good
Yeah,
feedback.
I think that's a really question.
Maybe that will be a light study for the future, so thank you for that
Is
suggestion.
Anthony Marino here? He might have that answer.
there had been a study, I think, a couple of years back on family attractions and stuff, but like now, I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
definitely grown.
Yeah, but that was, so I think it's critical
It's
now.
now that we've progressed.
Because
with
we've all
more-
talked about it, the multi-generational, people come in with their families and whether it be for leisure or business. I think it's critical.
For one of the whole picture on esports in particular, the Esports Innovation Center Executive Director were able to provide you the visits at the center, particular since June, where all the gears and the equipments are in place. And then the other one is Esports State Agency Association. They are the one that bring the kids play every weekend throughout the state, throughout the year. So the two biggest conferences of esports are in Jersey Shore, and more than half of the schools are also in the same area. So therefore, this area is the biggest interest out there that happy to connect you with them, and they provide you their aspect on esports figures for you if you're interested.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
I've always been a big fan of the beach concerts in Atlantic City, but the criticism has always been, why has it got to be on a weekend in August when we're already, at capacity? Phyllis, do you have any insight into the future of the beach concerts and whether or not it could be on shoulder months or shoulder days?
Yeah, so I think, concerts in general and entertainment are critical. It is frustrating when they are on weekends because they compete with the casino customer. There's been contracts in place and negotiations, so I think moving forward that's a big concern that's going to get addressed, and hopefully that'll happen in 2024.
Good question. Sarah, anyone from online?
Sure. We had a question from online. What initiatives are being pushed to attract the younger crowd or the next generation?
I can tell you that in Cape May County, we're using our digital marketing efforts to do that. We've got a lot of studies going on. We've just recently had a study through a company called Elevate that talked about the increased interest in younger. And when I talk about, the millennials, and now they're 41, the oldest is 41, we're seeing that generation, they are looking for the activities that we have. Then, many have families now, and family visitors are one of our highest demographics for Cape May County. So we are definitely working to understand what they're looking for, what are their needs, what are their wants, and how do we address that? How do we make that part of the content in our message? And our message can change through digital to target whatever and whomever we want. So that is what we're doing. We need to do that. Our baby boomers are aging out. They are one of our second largest demographic, visitor-based demographics. They are our homeowners, second homeowners. So we need to create ideas and new programs, and we have a lot of them, that we just need to make sure that this next generation understands what we have, what's new, and while you can still get the same experience, that unique experience that you had as a child, there's also a lot of new things. It's not your grandmother's Jersey Cape anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we are doing because we understand that that's our next generation, that's our next return visitor, the younger generation.
And Sandy, I'm sure you would mention the esports. Esports is an opportunity.
I think eSport is just really, to me, is a door opener. It's not necessarily the primary will generate the biggest and greatest revenue. It's a door opener to bring everybody else in town to enjoy and see the place. Once they see the place and experience positively, and they will come back. And one of the initiatives is that the newer generation they like to play games, not necessarily slot machines, but they like to go to casino. But the casino have to be facilitated with their needs, right? Geared towards what they want at the casino facilities. Instead of slot machine, they like to play games. Maybe they have an e-sport game room on property where their friends hang out and play while others doing other stuff in town. And also the e-sport, I butchered the name, is Garden E-Sport Association. They bring their kids every weekend, as I mentioned. So I think that if the place here be further developed in a way embracing their visits while they're in town together with their friends and families, I think the number will be expanded. We can all do the math then. At the same time, the Innovation Center right on Stockton campus, the eSport, they host programs to kids K through 12 in particularly, educating the STEM, the jobs career path, that while you're playing games that you like, that you can actually go into a career that have a job, either if not in technology, will be in hospitality, entertainment, or in accounting and finance, that jobs that are related to playing esports. So that way, that's really building an ecosystem. And also is if there are a connection, my personal perspective is that if there's a connection between schools and the kids and the employers, that not every kid want to go to 2 years or 4 years college. And nowadays, particularly certain new jobs and new skills that not necessarily really geared towards the kids who really want to just have a skill, a specialized skill to enter into workforce. So certification programs, instead of 2 years or 4 years or master, if those are certification programs geared towards make available to those kids, newer generation, then one, from my perspective, can fill the gaps of talent shortage of those areas, and two is really answering their needs and answering their cause that who don't want to go to 4 years college.
Yeah, good suggestion. We're actually developing several certificate programs, so that's an option for people that might not want to go to a full 4-year degree. Do we have time for one more question?
One more question. I've got one more from online. So during the pandemic, working from home, remote work was a trend that I think a lot of businesses tapped into, tried to take advantage of. The question from the audience is, remote work being so prevalent during COVID, is it still an opportunity for hotels and other businesses?
So is working from home an opportunity for hotels, like meaning people going to the hotel for their work?
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that as a
No.
Well,
opportunity?
I think in general that more and more people are doing that leisure trip, business and leisure. So they have already doing their work while they're on vacation. I think COVID probably and the shutdowns and all probably accelerated that. But I think that, you know, there's two things here. There's a trend that they want to be, you know, on visitor and they want to go on vacation, they want to be unplugged. But then there's the other side of it that they need to do their job because they have been doing it, and you know the phones and all that make you easily accessible. So I think that, you know, having Wi-Fi accessibility. I mean, we're looking to, hey, take it to the beach. You know, people can sit on the beach and also do that, but if there's not strong Wi-Fi or signals, they can't. So I think that it's kind of two-way street here. They want it, they don't want it, but they need it. So I think that since the COVID, that we're seeing more and more of that. People just can't help it. They got to work while they're on vacation.
You know what, I'm going to just add to that. So I think that's another, when we do our research before we strategize 2024 in Atlantic City, that's really another important question to ask folks. I know just based on the, again, building that my office and where I live is 700 people. So I know more people that are working remotely, and they are at Ocean Club. They don't live there full time. So they do get to go to the Orange Loop. They do get to do things, the beer gardens. So there are places now in Atlantic City that they want to stay for, and they don't want to go back to New York or Philadelphia for. So I know that they're at Ocean Club. I don't know specifically if the casinos are seeing upticks in people. From what I was told, yes, but that's just hearsay. But I think we should, that's another question that we should really look at. The other thing I was really impressed with when I met recently, we brought a TV camera crew over to Borgata. 20th anniversary, correct, 20th? They just put $50 million into their property, and they closed one of their spas. And they said, you know what, we're starting to target the young folks, and we want to provide meeting rooms for them. Like, what are you talking about, meeting rooms? Bridal showers, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties. And I was like, you know what, we've been saying that all along. So again, for the younger folks, let them know that we're here. And again,